Hey there, my name is John Siskovich and I'm answering your questions here on YouTube with YouTube videos so that I can show you and talk about the things that are on your mind as budding, beginning, or even experienced farmers. If I don't know the answer, I will consult with somebody who does or reference another farm because I'm not perfect and I don't have all the answers, nor have I been doing this for 1,000 years. I think I'm about 8 years in, so just shy of a decade now. Troy wrote in, not my favorite Troy, though I don't know anything about this Troy, but Troy Bishop, wherever you are, I love you, man. Troy wrote in with a question on farmmarketingsolutions.com, bottom of the page, wrote in a thing. You guys have heard me say it 1,000 times. Troy wrote in, for meat or laying hens, what is the ultimate brooder setup? I'm gonna jump on behind the camera, walk you around. My brooder's pretty dormant and needs to be cleaned out right now. I'm in between batches of birds. I'm gonna show you what I've done, and then I'm going to discuss the ultimate brooder setup, which is not mine. It's actually friends of mine in Florida who have just like the coolest setup I've ever seen in my entire life. So let me jump around the other side and we'll get this thing going. Here we go, unstabilized video. So one of the most important things, and is often overlooked, is the label. We have a brooder, because when I tell other people that chicks are in the brooder, we have a lot of buildings on this property, and having them labeled and knowing which one is which helps with employees, helps with visitors, and overall, just a good thing. So even standing right here, we can see I'm right on a main thoroughfare of the farm. This is my road, very exciting. This is the brewery, the barrel barn where we have storage. This is where I keep all the freezers to get my product. And then there's just a lot going on in between here and there. And on the other side of the brooder is my hop yard. And then we use that greenhouse for storage. And my whole point here is that I travel on this road a lot because when I have birds, I want to be able to check them on a regular basis. So having it easy and convenient and having like a small window where you can peek in through the window and not have to open the whole door to check on your birds is just makes the whole thing a lot smoother. You want to check your baby chicks a lot, but you don't necessarily want to disturb them a lot. And having a small window and easy access will allow you to accomplish that. I like having the two big doors. This is actually about the size of my tractor bucket. So when it comes time to shovel this out, I can park the tractor right here and shovel out into the tractor bucket and clean out the brooder that way. This wood on the bottom is removable so that once I've shoveled it all out and brought it to my compost piles over there, I can go in and power wash it and spray it all out and push everything out that door. So I have that one window, the door. I have another window here on an easy latch that it can't shut itself if it's open. Gravity pulls it down. And all I did there when I created this was do 3 cuts. I did 3 cuts with my circular saw. I screwed the hinges in before I did the top cut, and then did the top cut and then added my lock in later. So it was easy to set up. You'll notice also on the outside, and it's all overgrown, so you guys are getting the honest shot here. There's a door down on the bottom there. There's a little vent that will let some air in and out. And then there's a door down at the bottom with a ramp to the outside access where I have a chicken tractor. We call this the annex. So that the birds can get outside and I can start training them to the outside elements. When I have more birds, I have the weeds tamed and everything, but whatever, it got away from me this summer. I can get the birds used to the outside environment and living in a chicken tractor, so when they go to the field and they're moved into a chicken tractor, it's not a big change for them. It's a relatively big day in that they have to be handled and moved, but the change, they're already used to the outside environment, and then they can go outside and they're good to go. Other things I have around the brooder are knots that we use a lot so that there's easy instruction for other people who are going to be setting up, using, repairing, or fixing, troubleshooting something. There's everything in the how everything in the chicken tractor should function, and then for customers who are looking and being like, what is this thing over here? I have what is a chicken tractor and the benefits of it, so that I can do a little passive marketing when I'm not around. Other things I have is how hot, reference sheets on how hot the chicks need to be, what the heat lamps and everything for position to make sure that the birds are the most comfortable that they need to be. The timeline for birds, this is more marketing, just kind of lets people know what's happening, what stage the birds are at. And then how the brooder is set up so that when I need to reference it, I can turn my brain off, or if I need to have somebody help me, we have a checklist to go off of that has details, that is an illustration of exactly what is happening on the inside of the brooder. Now inside, let's see, let the camera adjust. There's that door. I have my heat lamps and a fan hooked up. I have power running here. I have water close by, but not in the shed. If I could have it right on the outside of the shed, that would be great. There's my other window and some extra feed. And yeah, that's that. That's my brooder. It's really simple. For this, with the inside and outside area, I'll raise 240 broilers. I'll do smaller batches of layers. I don't do a ton of egg layers, so this is more my setup for my broiler chickens. I'll do 240 at a time. I start them with half of this shed, and then I give them the full shed, and then I give them the outside area, which is another however many square feet. And by the time they're starting to grow out of that, they're warm enough and hardened off enough where they can go out in the field into chicken tractors. Now to do that, I have to pack them up in chicken crates and move them to another area of the farm. And that leads me to my favorite brooder setup that I've ever seen ever, and I'm gonna reach out to them and see if I can get some photographs. But the Shields family down in Florida, who are APA members and actually APA board members, their brooder is on a wagon running gear, and they can move the whole brooder anywhere out on farm. There's a few clever things about that. With having your brooder on that wagon running gear, and they have a lot of the same elements that I have in a stationary brooder, they can move the birds without touching them out into the pasture. And because it's on a wagon running gear, it's tall, and you want to get them to the chicken tractor, which is down on the ground. They took a child's playground slide. They got a couple of kids. They took a playground slide, and they take the chicks and slide them down the slide real gently, and at that pitch that they have it, they slide right into the chicken tractors. The birds just flap down there, and I've seen videos of it. It's fascinating and amazing. That very minimal touching the birds. They're just herding them to the end, counting them as they go into the chicken tractors. They can move that wagon, their mobile brooder anywhere they need to on farm. And then the most clever part ever is that the whole floor is a really thick, heavy canvas tarp, and that's what their bedding has been on. After they've moved all the birds out, in order to clean out the whole brooder, they hook it up to the tractor. It's already hooked up to the tractor. They drag this tractor slowly across an area of pasture where they want to spread this stuff. They turn a crank, and the whole brooder empties out off the back onto the ground. So if you're let me get an illustration here. So if this is your floor, there's a crank right here and a tarp over the whole floor, so the birds aren't actually sitting on like wood decking or whatever it is. And when you turn this crank, this slides off, and all the poop, manure, and bedding falls off the brooder, and you can spread it wherever you want on farm. Your brooder is clean. You just roll that tarp back up, maybe wash it off, spread new bedding on it, and you're good to go with your next batch of chicks. Me, I have to bring the tractor up, and it takes like 2 or 3 tractor bucket loads for me to shovel out the brooder. I'm standing in a room full of dust. I wear a dust mask. You're covered in poop dust for a while, and it's just not as clean and clever as the mobile brooder, where you slide the chicks out into the chicken tractor, then you just roll out the poop onto the ground, and you're good to go. It's just really fascinating and amazing. I was lucky enough that after I shot this video, I sent a message to Dave and Ginger Shields down in Florida, and they sent me a video. Dave shot a video of their awesome brooder. So here is Dave's walkthrough of their brooder setup and how they do it. It has no chicks in it because during the summer it's their slow season because they're in Florida, but you'll get the point.
Good morning, John. This is Dave and Ginger from Pasture Life Farm. I am here to show you our mobile brooder, which I know you heard a little bit about. This is an empty mobile brooder. we are not doing any chickens this time of year. It gets too hot in Florida, so we stop in middle summer and then we continue in winter and early spring. Anyways, this is our brooder. It's a 10 by 20 pole construction. This, using bent top rail pipe. Pretty easy design, really easy to build. We like the mobile brooder for a lot of things. Obviously, the logistics of being able to move it where we need it is nice. This tarp here is a part of our roll-away floor system. Normally this tarp is stretched all the way to the front, and then that tarp can roll out, which of course allows us to get rid of all the bedding in here. Obviously, we've already done that, which is why there's no bedding in here currently. This is the outside of the mobile brooder. As you can see, we are on a wagon frame. I don't recommend wagon frames. Most people can't really back these up very well. And because we bring this out to the field to deliver our chickens to our pasture shelters, this is not an easy task for anybody. So normally I end up pushing this, reverse with a tractor. But in any case, this works really well. My other brooders that I've built, this is the first one actually, learned my lesson. The other ones are on single axle trailers. But as you can see, hoop construction, as I showed before. Here's the back, the business end. This is where we call the dump door. And this is kind of where we remove our chicks once they get to complete brooding phase. This whole door closes, whenever we're brooding, and then it opens whenever we need to get rid of bedding or to remove the chicks. So this is the roll-away system that I referred to earlier. This is how we remove the flooring so we can dump the bedding. All this is just a winch from Harbor Freight, $20, plus a 10-foot piece, which happens to be the width of this brooder of EMT pipe that I welded right to the outside of this. And all you have to do to remove the bedding is simply pull, as you can see, just pull that, it rolls up on the EMT, and that's our routine for going out to the field. It's very simple since we're using peat moss, which obviously is quite dusty, but we use peat moss just because it's pH neutral, and it allows us to really dump this manure and manure infested bedding, I guess you can call it, or manure enriched would be a better term, right to the field, and without really affecting pH much. In any case, this has been a great design. It's worked really well for us. We continue to use it and plan to build more. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Thanks again, Dave and Junior, for going through the effort of putting that video together so I can tack it onto this one, show you the ultimate brooder setup. If you want more clever ideas like this, I would go to appa.org, A-P-P-P-A. And I think Dave's brooder or mobile brooding systems were on the last installment publication of the APA Grit, which comes out, I think, every 2 months. And it is articles about specifics for raising chickens. They talk about marketing them, selling them, growing them, clever solutions that other growers have come up with. Yeah, that's it. I'm just like, the sun is shining. This is the last video I was going to shoot for today. Next week is going to be a slightly different theme. And yeah, I'm going to go home and drink some coffee, say hi to my wife, and kiss my daughters, and then get back to work on the farm for the day. I hope you have a lot of fun. Enjoy doing whatever you're doing today. One more time, hi Troy, both to Troy who wrote in at Farm Marketing Solutions, and Troy Bishop, my friend and mentor. I miss you. And until next time, I'll see you all out in the field.